Greetings everybody, this is Serpentine451 again, back with my top 45 favorite films. Now we get back. Number 39 is Battle Royale, a great Japanese film that is the inspiration of the Hunger Games. And it's a great film. It's about, for those of you who don't know, it's about a group of Japanese kids, a bunch of school kids, 40 in total, with 2 transfer students, trapped on an island, and they have to kill each other until one survives. It's a great film. It has gore, it has violence, kids go insane. It's a very cerebral film. It's a great film in the sense that you follow some of the kids. You follow the characters. They make pacts. They form alliances. One of them. One of the transfer students is an insane motherfucker. But it's a great film. Some kids even lose their minds towards the end. But it's still a great film that everyone should check it out, even though it's subtitled. Number 28 is Nosferatu, a great silent film that's a staple of horror. And it should be on anyone's list because it's a classic film. And the reason why I love this film is because Nosferatu was inspired by the novel Dracula. It's one of the first representations of interpretations of the novel on the silver screen, even though it was a silent film made in the 1920s and 30s, between that time. But what I love about Nosferatu, even though it doesn't have a dialogue, just the body language conveys so much more than if the characters were to speak. It's a brilliant, and Count Orlok's makeup effects, the special effects makeup for Count Orlok is just creepy. And kudos to the ones who crafted that special effects makeup. It is great. It's just a beautifully made film too. Number 27 is the remake of True Grit. And I love this film because it's a good Western. I don't watch I rarely watch a Western film, and this is my introduction to a Western film, and I'm glad that my introduction was the remake of True Grit, because I love this film. The actors in this film are great, and also it shows how vengeance, if you live your life based on vengeance, how your life will end up. Because the female lead just lives her life based on the vengeance of bringing the guy who killed her father in. And what happens to her later in her life when she looks cold, distant, and so unfeeling. Just some of the things that happen to her happen for a reason. It's a realistic take on what would happen to that kind of person. And also, Rooster Cogburn is an awesome character. I like Rooster Cogburn as a character. And it's just a beautifully made film. Makes me feel like the Old West. It has that Old West feel, and it has that realism that everyone seems to love these days. Number 26 is Black Swan. I love Black Swan because Darren Aronofsky is a brilliant filmmaker. Black Swan is one of those great Natalie Portman films, one of those great Mila Kunis films. It's the culmination of everything that I like. It's a very dramatic film. It's a thriller. It's psychological, because you follow Natalie Portman's character from one point to the film towards her end, which is tragic. It's a very tragic end. And it's similar to what I like about Chronicle, but I like what happens to Black Swan more over Chronicle, because Chronicle shows a character becoming a sort of villain and meeting his end, whereas Natalie Portman's character wants to become the lead, and she would love to become the lead, but it's her progress actually becoming the lead and what happens to her in the end. That's what I like. And also the transformation scenes in the Black Swan are just gorgeous. It's just gorgeous the way everything kind of blended together. Number 25 is The Amazing Spider-Man. Even though one of my favorite Spider-Man films is Spider-Man 2, I love The Amazing Spider-Man because it shows the Spider-Man I wanted to see. A wisecracking yet intelligent Peter Parker in Spider-Man. And I actually got the chance to see the Lizard in live action before I die, which I think that's a good brownie point towards the film. And also it incorporates Peter's parents, a different way Uncle Ben dies, and all that stuff. A little bit dark. It's darker, yet it incorporates some things in the comics. That's what I like about it. It blends so much, and I cannot wait for the sequel, even though it makes me laugh and kind of scratch my head that Jamie Foxx is playing Electro. I'm just curious what that will look like. Anyway, number 24 is Brick. This is a great neo-noir film. The perfect example of a neo-noir film. Actually, a perfect example of a great film in general. Brick is one of the first few films I've seen Joseph Gordon-Levitt in, and I actually love this film because it's a beautifully shot film. The story itself is great. The characters are great. For those of you who don't know, Brick, as a film, it's about Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character and his quest to, using his detective skills even though he's in high school, to figure out why his dead girlfriend's in a storm drain. It's an interesting film, which leads him to, it was interesting that her death and his investigation to her death leads to this teenage criminal underworld. And it's fascinating. Just the twists and turns, how the story moves, how the characters interact with each other, it's just great. I cannot sing the praises of this film enough, or I cannot put into enough words just to describe what I think of this film. Number 23 is Willow. Another great fantasy film of the 80s. Michael Keaton is he's a funny motherfucker in this film. I just love it. I love this film. The characters are great. The story is great. The fight scenes are awesome. The mythos to this film is great. It has a lot of great fantasy moments. And that's what I love about it so much. Just so much. I was happy when I was watching this film. I felt happy that I got to see another great fantasy film. Even though it was made in the 80s, I don't care. It's a great film regardless of the year it was made. Speaking of great films, number 22 is Toy Story 3. What I love about Toy Story 3 is this. Toy Story 3, for me, is the film that made me feel very emotional. Because it's one of those great Pixar films that actually made me cry. At the end, funny thing, here's a little fun fact. I cried at the beginning of Up, and I cried at the end of Toy Story 3, because they're both similar. Pixar knows how to make you cry, how to make you feel something. And that's the greatest strength Pixar Studios has in its arsenal when it comes to their films and short films. And I just love it because, and also I love it for the characters. I love it for the story and how it progressed and how it naturally should progress in a film series like Toy Story. In the beginning, it's childhood, and in the middle, in the sequel, Toy Story 2 is about Andy growing up even more, and the toys feeling and what the toys are reacting to, and this one's about Andy going to college and how the toys feel about it. And it's just a lot of things I love about this film that is just so compelling to me. And it hits me on an emotional level. Number 21 is Indiana Jones: The Last Crusade. This is my introduction to Indiana Jones, and I love it because it's my introduction. Sean Connery is an awesome actor, so is Harrison Ford, and the two play off each other. Sean Connery plays Indy's father, and it's a quest for the Holy Grail, one of the most sought-after objects in human history and all that sweet jazz. And also, it's a great film. It reminds me of the pulp serials in the 1930s and 40s. And it should, because I like seeing those. I like seeing the 1920s, the 1930s, the 1940s. I love the look. I love the feel I get. That just adventure inside of me wants to go, yeah, I'm going to take a bolo whip and smack lizards upside the head with it. I don't know what I just said there, but hey, it's a good film, and it's my favorite of all the Indiana Jones movies. Number 20 is a Godzilla film that I love with every fiber of my being. I love Godzilla 2000. It was difficult for me to pick which Godzilla film I loved more. I think Godzilla 2000 was the perfect choice for me because this was the Godzilla film that made me excited for Godzilla because it came out in theaters. And I was like, yeah, Godzilla the way it should be on the big screen. This is awesome. Godzilla 2000, the 2000 Godzilla. He looks great. Ornaga, who is the villain that he fights, the monster that he fights, he's great. He's a giant space monster. Just the story is good. And Godzilla is one of my favorite movie monsters. Will always be till the day I die. And I think this is the film that makes me love Godzilla. It gives me the reason to love Godzilla. It also makes me appreciate all the Godzilla films I've watched in my life that much more. Number 19 is the film What About Bob? I love this film because it's hilarious. Bill Murray is a funny guy. And it's just the story I like. The characters are great too. Bill Murray's character, Bob, he is just this guy he thinks he has OCD, Tourette's, all this stuff, and it drives all of his psychologists and psychiatrists insane until he gets this new one that is leaving for a family vacation. Then Bob joins him, and hilarity ensues, and it's that great of a film in my personal opinion. And it's just everything about this film that I love. The comedy is great, the jokes are funny, and it makes me appreciate the actor that is Bill Murray. Number 18 is Friday the 13th, the original Friday the 13th. Two reasons. One, I love this film because it's one of those staples of the slasher genre, and two, it is one of those great mysteries because you never know, you want to know who the killer is at the end, even though all of us who are horror fans know who the original killer of the first Friday the 13th is, but everyone says, oh, I like Jason Voorhees, he's the only reason I watch the Friday the 13th movies. You'll be if you haven't seen the original Friday the 13th, you'll be pleasantly surprised who the original killer is. And I love this film because it does that. It doesn't tell you who the original killer is. And it's that great, in my personal opinion. Also, it's the whole camper's getting killed in the woods story. Come on. Number 17 on my list is Ghost of Girlfriend's Past with Matthew McConaughey. I know, I'm probably going to get some confusion with this choice, but I love this film because it's a twist on the Christmas Carol concept of a story, where you get one character that's visited by multiple spirits just to change a certain aspect of his life, like the spirit of Christmas, or in this movie's case, finding true love and just sticking with the person you love the most. I think that's a great concept to do with a film. I think you can take the whole Christmas Carol story and place it into almost any situation and make it really unique and really awesome. That's what I love about it. I love the uniqueness of this film. I love how the characters are unique in themselves, even though they are. I find them pretty interesting and compelling, and the spirits are cool too. It's just a good film. number 16 in the film I'm going to leave off to leave off this video is The Wizard of Oz. Another staple of great cinema is The Wizard of Oz. The reason I love this Wizard of Oz is because it's a great story. I love how in the beginning of the film it starts in sepia tone, and then at some point it turns to color, all the bright lights and beautiful colors. It's a great contrast, and I love all the set design, I love the costumes, and it's one of the films that I grew up watching as a little kid, and then right now in adulthood, it's a film I appreciate even more. And so that's more of the list. Stay tuned for part 3, and this has been Serpentine 451.